The holographic display flickered in the dim briefing room. Admiral Cretal watched the same footage for the sixth time that morning. His 4 compound eyes tracked every movement on screen. A single human soldier crouched behind broken concrete. 16 hostile targets moved through the ruined city streets below. Distance markers showed 2,400 meters. The human fired. 1 target dropped. Another shot. Another target fell. The human adjusted position slightly. 3 more shots. 3 more enemies eliminated before they even knew where the fire came from. Cretal's mandibles clicked rapidly. In his 70 cycles of military service, he had never seen anything like this. Impossible, muttered Circuit Mind Ven from across the table. The creche officer's neural implants glowed faintly as he processed the data. Wind speed was 18 units. Urban terrain creates unpredictable air currents. Moving targets with irregular patterns. Even our best targeting computers achieve only 23% accuracy in these conditions. Warchief Thonrak crossed his massive arms. The Valerix warrior stood nearly 8 feet tall, his species bred for combat over countless generations. My finest soldiers trained for 20 cycles to master long-range weapons. They require stable positions, controlled breathing, and perfect conditions. This human makes it look like morning exercise. Perhaps it is edited? Suggested Shepard Tall, the Dulmai representative. His people avoided violence, but they understood military necessity. Humans are clever with technology. We verified the footage, Cretal said. 3 independent sources. No alterations. No enhancements. This is raw combat recording. The door to the briefing room opened. Commander Paul Walsh entered, a human male in his mid-40s with graying hair and tired eyes. He had commanded the Joint Coalition forces on the frontier for 2 years now. The aliens had learned to respect him, though they did not always understand his species. Admiral, Walsh nodded to Cretal. You requested this meeting urgently. Commander Walsh, we must speak with your sniper corps immediately. Cretal gestured to the frozen hologram. We have reviewed combat footage from 37 separate engagements. Your marksmen perform at levels our analysts consider impossible without technological enhancement. Walsh glanced at the screen. He recognized the scene. Viridian Colony 3 weeks ago. Kretsch raiders had attacked a civilian settlement. His people responded. That's Private Leo Grant, Walsh said calmly. Yes. Cretal's voice rose through his translator. Private Grant eliminated 16 targets at extreme range in adverse conditions. What cybernetic enhancements does he possess? What genetic modifications has your military developed? Walsh pulled out a chair and sat down. His aide, Lieutenant Amy Foster, stood beside him with a data pad. Private Grant doesn't have enhancements, Walsh said. He's a regular infantry soldier. 22 years old. Joined the service 18 months ago. Ven's implants flickered faster. Commander, that is statistically impossible. I have calculated the probability of those shots succeeding. Even with computer assistance, the mathematics do not support such accuracy. How long do your soldiers train with ranged weapons? Thonrak asked. My warriors begin at age 5. They practice daily for 20 cycles before they achieve master status. Even then, they cannot match what we see in this footage. Walsh leaned back in his chair. How many soldiers do you think we have who can shoot like Private Grant? That is precisely what we wish to know, Cretal said. How large is your sniper division? How many of these enhanced soldiers do you deploy? Enhanced. Walsh shook his head. Admiral, Private Grant isn't enhanced. He's average. The room fell silent. 4 alien species stared at the human commander. Average. Ven repeated. That performance is average for human military? Actually, Grant scored in the middle range during basic training, Lieutenant Foster added, checking her data pad. He's a decent shot, but nothing special by our standards. Thonrak stood abruptly. His chair scraped against the floor. Commander, you insult our intelligence. We are military professionals. We understand ballistics, training requirements, and physiological limitations. What that human accomplished requires years of specialized training or technological enhancement. You cannot claim it as average. Walsh met the war chief's gaze steadily. I'm not insulting anyone. I'm telling you the truth. Private Grant is an average human soldier. Most of my people can shoot like that with basic training. Most? Cretal's mandibles clicked so rapidly they created a continuous buzzing sound. You claim most humans possess this capability? Yes. Shepard Tall spoke softly. Commander Walsh, perhaps there is a misunderstanding. When you say average, do you mean average among your special forces? Your elite units? No, Walsh said. I mean average among all humans who serve in the military. And honestly, most human civilians could probably make those shots too, given a few hours of practice. Ven's implants sparked. That is impossible. Our calculations do not support such claims. Your calculations are based on your own species' capabilities, Walsh pointed out. Humans are different. Different how? Cretal demanded. What makes your species so superior in ranged combat? Walsh glanced at Lieutenant Foster. She pulled up additional files on her data pad. We've been trying to understand this ourselves, Walsh admitted. After you raised questions last month about human combat performance, we did some research. Talked to our scientists and historians. And? Thonrak pressed. And we found the answer, Walsh said. But you're not going to believe it. Try us, Cretal said. Walsh stood and walked to the viewport. Below, on the station's training grounds, human and alien soldiers practiced together. He could see the differences in their movements, their postures, their approaches to every task. Every human you've ever met, Walsh said quietly, could have made those shots. Every single one. The aliens erupted in protest. Cretal's clicking intensified. Thonrak growled in his throat. Ven's implants flashed warning colors. Even peaceful Shepherd Tall looked disturbed. That's absurd. Ven declared. You cannot expect us to believe every human possesses extraordinary marksmanship abilities. Walsh turned from the viewport. I don't expect you to believe it. That's why I'm going to prove it. How? Cretal asked. Set up a demonstration. Bring your best marksmen. Your champions. Your soldiers with the highest accuracy ratings. Walsh's expression remained neutral. I'll bring humans to compete against them. From your sniper corps? Thonrak asked. No, Walsh said. I'll bring civilians. The room fell silent again. This time the silence lasted longer. Civilians? Cretal finally said. You will bring untrained civilians to compete against our finest warriors? They're not untrained, Walsh corrected. They're just not military. There's a difference. Shepherd Tall tilted his head. Commander, surely you realize how this sounds. You claim ordinary human civilians can outshoot our elite soldiers. I'm not claiming anything, Walsh said. I'm offering to demonstrate. Tomorrow. On the training range. Your champions against random humans from the civilian station. If I'm wrong, I'll personally apologize and provide full disclosure about any secret human programs you think we're hiding. Cretal's eyes fixed on Walsh. The human showed no signs of deception. No nervousness. No hesitation. And if you're right? The Admiral asked. Walsh smiled slightly. Then you'll finally understand why humans are valuable allies. The training range sat on the surface of Theta Moon, a barren rock orbiting the Coalition station. Prefabricated barriers and target systems dotted the gray landscape. The thin atmosphere required everyone to wear breathing equipment, but visibility stretched for kilometers in every direction. Admiral Cretal arrived with an entourage. Behind him walked 3 champions. The first was a Zenthari sniper named Click 17, famous throughout the fleet for precision shooting. The second was a Valorix warrior called Grinned, who had won 19 marksmanship competitions. The third was a Kresh soldier with enhanced targeting implants, designation Tech Sage Morris. Warchief Thonrak and the other observers assembled near the command station. They had come to witness humans fail. Commander Walsh stood waiting at the entrance to the range. Beside him were 5 humans in civilian clothing. No military uniforms. No tactical gear. Just ordinary people wearing breathing masks. Cretal's mandibles clicked. Commander, where are your competitors? Walsh gestured to the 5 civilians. Right here. The Admiral stared. These are your marksmen? These are humans, Walsh said simply. That's all I promised. Lieutenant Foster stepped forward with her data pad. Admiral, let me introduce our volunteers. This is Tom Bradley, he teaches mathematics at the civilian school. Next to him is Karen Wright, she works in the station kitchen. That's Steve Miller, he repairs cargo equipment. The woman with red hair is Lisa Cohen, she manages the hydroponics bay. And the young man is Jack Peterson, he's 18 and works in waste recycling. Thonrak laughed, a deep rumbling sound. A teacher? A cook? Commander Walsh, this is not amusing. I'm not joking, Walsh said. These 5 people volunteered when I asked for civilians who could shoot. They're not soldiers. They've never had military training. But they're human. Tom Bradley raised his hand politely. Actually, Commander, I was in the reserves for 2 years. Does that disqualify me? Did you receive specialized marksmanship training? Walsh asked. No sir, just basic qualification. Then you're fine. Ven processed this information through his implants. Commander, this is either an elaborate deception or genuine madness. Our champions have trained their entire lives. You bring a mathematics teacher? Let's just start, Walsh said. Lieutenant Foster will explain the course. Foster activated the targeting system. Holographic markers appeared across the range at various distances. Simple test. 10 targets at different ranges. Competitors shoot in turns. Closest to center scores highest. We'll start at 500 meters and work back to 2,000 meters. Click, 17 buzzed with confidence. The Zen-3 had compound eyes that could track multiple objects simultaneously. Grinned cracked his massive knuckles. Tech Sage Morris's implants glowed as he synchronized with the range systems. Your champions shoot first, Walsh offered. Cretal nodded. Click, 17, demonstrate proper technique. The Zen-3 moved to the firing line. His weapon was custom-built, designed specifically for his anatomy. He settled into a complex brace that supported his body. His breathing slowed. The compound eyes focused. He fired. The shot struck 4.2 centimeters from center. The aliens murmured approval. Excellent shooting. Grendal went next. The massive Valorix took longer to aim. His species valued strength over speed, but they trained for accuracy. His shot landed 5.7 centimeters from center. More approval from the observers. Tech Sage Morris stepped up. His implants calculated wind, distance, gravity. Computer assistants guided his aim. He fired. The shot struck 3.1 centimeters from center. The aliens buzzed with satisfaction. Their champions had performed well. Teacher, Foster called. You're up. Tom Bradley walked to the firing line. He picked up a standard human rifle, checked it casually, and shouldered it. No special brace. No long preparation. He glanced at the target, adjusted his stance slightly, and fired. The shot struck 1.8 centimeters from center. Cretal's mandibles stopped clicking. Thonrak leaned forward. Ven's implants flickered rapidly as he recalculated. Lucky shot, someone muttered. Next target, Foster announced. 800 meters. The alien champions fired again. Good shots, all within 6 centimeters of center. Then Karen Wright stepped up. The cook was a middle-aged woman with graying hair. She had never touched a military weapon before today. Foster had spent 15 minutes showing her how the rifle worked. Karen aimed, breathed out slowly, and squeezed the trigger. Her shot landed 2.3 centimeters from center. Thonrak stood up from his seat. How? The demonstration continued. Steve Miller, the mechanic, hit within 3 centimeters every time. Lisa Cohen matched the alien champions shot for shot. Young Jack Peterson, still a teenager, outscored Tech Sage Morris on 3 consecutive targets. By the time they reached 1,500 meters, the alien champions were struggling. The wind had picked up. The targets moved slightly. Click, 17 missed completely on 1 shot. Grendal needed 3 attempts to hit the target zone. Tom Bradley adjusted his aim, compensated for wind almost instinctively, and fired. Dead center. Karen Wright hit 2 centimeters left of center. Steve Miller split the difference, landing between them. This is impossible, Ven stated flatly. His implants could not process what they observed. These humans have no training. No enhancements. No targeting systems. How are they outperforming our champions? Walsh said nothing. He just watched. At 2,000 meters, the alien champions gave up trying to match the humans. The distance was too far, the conditions too difficult. Click, 17 managed to hit the target area but nowhere near center. Grendal refused to shoot, claiming the test was unfair. Tech Sage Morris's implants overheated from excessive calculations. Lisa Cohen, the hydroponics manager, took her position. She had told Walsh earlier she used to hunt small animals as a child on Earth. That was 15 years ago. She hadn't held a weapon since. She fired. The shot struck 4.1 centimeters from center at 2,000 meters in variable wind. The alien observers sat in stunned silence. Jack Peterson went last. The teenage waste recycling worker looked nervous. His hands shook slightly as he aimed. He took 3 deep breaths, steadied himself, and fired. His shot landed 3.7 centimeters from center. Foster checked her data pad. Final scores. Human team average, 2.8 centimeters from center across all distances. Alien champion team average, 5.9 centimeters from center. Cretal rose slowly from his seat. He walked to the firing line where the 5 human civilians stood chatting casually about their shots. He pointed at Tom Bradley. You teach children mathematics? Yes, sir, Tom said politely. Where did you learn to shoot? Tom shrugged. My father took me hunting when I was 7. Then I played baseball in school. Threw javelin in college. Did 2 years in the reserves like I mentioned. But no special training if that's what you mean. Baseball? Krital repeated. What is baseball? A game, Tom explained. You throw a ball and try to hit targets. Everyone plays it. Krital turned to Karen. And you? The cook. I grew up on a farm, Karen said. Threw rocks at birds that ate our crops. Played cricket with my brothers. That's about it. Cricket? Krital said slowly. Another throwing game? Yes. The Admiral looked at Walsh. His 4 eyes showed something the commander had never seen before, genuine fear. Commander Walsh, Krital said quietly. We demand an explanation. Now. Commander Walsh led the group back to the briefing room. The 5 human civilians returned to their regular jobs, chatting happily about their performance. The alien observers followed in silence, their minds struggling to process what they had witnessed. A new human waited in the briefing room. She was a slim woman in her 50s with dark skin and sharp eyes. She wore a white lab coat with various research badges attached. This is Dr. Susan Hayes, Walsh introduced her. She's an evolutionary biologist. We brought her from Earth specifically to answer your questions. Admiral Krital sat down heavily. His mandibles clicked softly, a sign of deep thought among his people. Dr. Hayes, what we saw today should not be possible. 5 untrained civilians outperformed our finest marksmen. We need to understand how. Susan Hayes smiled gently. Admiral, they weren't untrained. They've been training since they were infants. Every single human has. War Chief Thonrak growled. We watched their records. The teacher had minimal military service. The cook had none. The others never touched weapons before today. Weapons, no, Susan agreed. But throwing? They've been throwing objects their entire lives. She activated a holographic display. An image appeared showing an early human, primitive and muscular, holding a spear. Humans evolved on Earth over millions of years, Susan began. About 2 million years ago, our ancestors developed something unique. Something no other known species in the galaxy possesses. She touched a control. The hologram zoomed in on the human shoulder joint. This is a human shoulder. Look at how it connects to the body. See this rotation range? Humans can rotate their shoulders in ways most species cannot. We can throw our arms forward with tremendous force and precision. Circuit Mind Ven leaned closer. His implants scanned the image. Interesting anatomy, but how does this explain today's demonstration? Because humans didn't just develop the ability to throw, Susan continued. We became the best throwers in Earth's history. Possibly the best throwers in the galaxy. She changed the image. Now it showed various Earth animals, lions, wolves, bears. Our ancestors were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most dangerous in direct combat. So how did weak, slow humans survive against these predators? Tools, suggested Shepard Tall. Yes, but specifically thrown tools, Susan said. Humans hunted by throwing spears, rocks, and other projectiles. We could kill dangerous animals from a distance. Safe distance. The hologram changed again. It showed a human throwing a spear at a large Earth animal. For 2 million years, humans who couldn't throw accurately starved. Humans who couldn't hit moving targets died. Humans who misjudged distance or wind never had children. Generation after generation, only the best throwers survived. Krital's eyes widened. Natural selection for throwing ability? Exactly, Susan confirmed. And it didn't just affect our shoulders. Watch this. She displayed a human eye, then compared it to Zenthari compound eyes, Valerix eyes, and Kresh optical sensors. Human eyes are special. We have binocular vision, both eyes facing forward. This gives us exceptional depth perception. We can judge distances instinctively. Our brains calculate trajectories automatically without conscious thought. Our compound eyes see more, Click 17 buzzed defensively. Yes, you see wider, Susan agreed. But humans see depth better. We track moving objects better. Our eyes evolved specifically to follow thrown projectiles and moving prey. She pulled up another image, this time showing a human brain with highlighted regions. This is the human motor cortex. These sections control throwing. They're huge compared to the same regions in other Earth species. When a human throws something billions of calculations happen instantly. Wind speed, gravity, target movement, object weight. We process all of this without thinking. Ven's implants flickered. But our targeting computers do the same calculations. Yes, but your computers need time, Susan said. Humans do it instantly. And we've been doing it since childhood. She changed the hologram to show human children playing. Some threw balls. Others tossed objects to each other. A group played what looked like a complex throwing game. Every human culture has throwing games, Susan explained. Baseball, cricket, basketball, football, handball, dodgeball, javelin, discus. Human children start throwing toys before they can walk properly. By age 5, most humans have thrown objects thousands of times. Play? Thonrak said slowly. You train your children through play? We don't call it training, Susan said. We call it fun. But yes, every human child learns to throw accurately because it's enjoyable. Parents teach children. Children teach other children. It never stops. She showed footage of various human sports. Baseball pitchers throwing at high speed. Basketball players making long shots. Cricket bowlers hitting precise targets. Tom Bradley, your mathematics teacher, played baseball for 15 years. That's thousands of throws. Karen Wright played cricket with her brothers every day as a child. Steve Miller threw tools to co-workers in tight spaces for 20 years. Every human has similar experience. Krital stood and walked to the hologram. He studied the human shoulder joint carefully. So when Commander Walsh said any human could make those shots, he meant it literally, Susan confirmed. Give any adult human a weapon that throws projectiles and they'll be accurate. Some more than others, yes, but all of them will be good. It's built into our biology. Shepard Tall spoke quietly. Dr. Hayes, what you're describing sounds like every human is a natural weapon. The room fell silent. Susan met the Dolmai's gaze steadily. Yes, she said simply. From your perspective, that's accurate. Humans are persistence predators with instinctive ballistic skills. We hunted Earth's most dangerous animals by throwing sharp objects at them. We survived by being able to kill from a distance. Terrifying, Ven muttered. Susan's expression softened. I understand your concern. But consider this, humans also throw to play. To bond. To teach. We throw balls to our children not to train warriors, but because it makes us happy. The same instinct that makes us dangerous also makes us social. She showed images of humans playing catch, tossing objects gently to each other, laughing. Yes, every human can throw accurately. But we also choose when and how to use that ability. We're not mindless weapons. War Chief Thonrak rubbed his massive jaw. My people train warriors from age 5. 20 cycles of dedicated practice to master ranged weapons. And you're saying human children achieve the same level through games? Higher level usually, Susan said apologetically. Because it's not just training. It's evolution. It's instinct. It's built into every human cell. Admiral Krital returned to his seat. He looked at Commander Walsh with new understanding. When you brought civilians to the range, Krital said slowly, you weren't making a joke. You were making a point. Walsh nodded. Every human you've met in this station could have performed at that level. The janitors. The clerks. The teenagers working part-time jobs. All of them. Even children? Asked Shepard Tall. Especially children, Susan said. They're still learning, but yes. A 12-year-old human child could likely outshoot many of your trained soldiers. Ven's implants sparked rapidly. We need to recalculate our threat assessments. If every human is capable of this level of marksmanship. We're allies, Walsh reminded him firmly. This doesn't change that. No, Krital agreed. But it changes our understanding of what human means. He looked at the hologram still showing the ancient human with a spear. You evolved to kill from a distance, the Admiral said quietly. Every one of you. Susan Hayes nodded. Yes. But we also evolved to choose our targets carefully. The coalition leadership gathered in emergency session 6 hours after Dr. Hayes' presentation. Representatives from 12 alien species filled the council chamber aboard the central station. Word had spread quickly through the fleet about the demonstration on Theta Moon. Admiral Krital stood at the central podium. Behind him, holographic displays showed footage from the shooting range. 5 human civilians casually outperforming alien military champions. The images spoke louder than any speech. We must discuss the human question, Krital announced. What we learned today changes our strategic understanding of this species. War Chief Thonrak activated his own display. I have reviewed human military records from the past 10 years. 73 combat engagements. In 68 of those engagements, humans achieved hit rates above 80% at ranges exceeding 1,000 meters. We assumed this indicated elite forces. He paused, his massive frame tense. We now know these were regular infantry soldiers. Average humans. Not specialists. A Dolmai Council member named Shepard Vin raised a delicate hand. Surely this is concerning, but humans have been our allies. They have shown no hostile intent toward coalition species. Not yet, muttered a Kresh admiral named Techlord Kane. But we must consider possibilities. Circuit Mind Ven, present your analysis. Ven stood, his neural implants glowing brightly. I have run projections based on the new data. The results are disturbing. Numbers filled the holographic displays. Population counts, military capacity estimates, combat effectiveness ratios. Humans currently have approximately 40,000 military personnel spread across coalition space, Ven began. We previously assessed this as a moderate force. Useful but not dominant. However, if we recalculate based on their demonstrated capabilities, the numbers shifted. Red warning indicators appeared. A single human soldier has combat effectiveness equivalent to 4 of our trained marksmen. In ranged combat scenarios, human forces are approximately 16 times more effective than we estimated. Murmurs spread through the chamber. 16 times. Furthermore, Ven continued, humans have a home population of 9 billion. Even if only 1% of that population received basic military training, they could field 90 million soldiers. All of them capable of the marksmanship we witnessed today. The chamber fell silent. 90 million expert marksmen. Shepard Vin spoke carefully. But humans have no reason to mobilize such forces. Earth is peaceful. They contribute to coalition security without demanding territory or resources. Today they are peaceful, Techlord Kane said. What about tomorrow? What about in 10 years? We allowed humans to join the coalition because we thought they were useful allies. Now we discover every human civilian is a potential elite warrior. Admiral Kretal's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. There is another factor we must consider. Dr. Hayes mentioned human children. He pulled up footage from a human school on the civilian station. Children between ages 6 and 12 played in an open area. They threw balls to each other, practiced with simple targets, ran and jumped while tossing objects. Human children begin developing these skills before age 5, Kretal said. By age 12, many already exceed the marksmanship of our trained adults. By age 18, when humans reach military service age, they have 15 years of unconscious training. Warchief Thonrak growled low in his throat. My warriors train for 20 cycles to achieve mastery. Human children surpass them through play. It's not just play, corrected Dr. Susan Hayes, who had been invited to observe the session. May I speak? Kretal gestured permission. Susan stepped forward to address the council. I understand your concern, she said. But you're looking at this from a purely military perspective. Yes, humans can shoot accurately. Yes, we evolved this ability. But we also evolved other traits. Cooperation. Empathy. Long-term thinking. Those traits do not eliminate the threat, Techlord Kane said bluntly. A peaceful predator is still a predator. True, Susan acknowledged. But consider Earth's history. Humans fought among ourselves for millennia. Wars, conflicts, violence. We had the capability to destroy our own species many times over. But we didn't. We chose cooperation instead. We built the United Earth Government. We applied to join this coalition peacefully. Because you needed us, Kane suggested. You were alone in space. Now you have allies, technology, territory. Your needs may change. Commander Walsh stepped forward to join Susan. Admiral Kane, I understand your fear. But you're missing something important. What am I missing? You're thinking of humans as potential enemies, Walsh said. Consider instead what we could be as committed allies. He activated his own display. It showed recent combat footage from frontier zones. Human soldiers fighting alongside Zenthari, Valorix, and Kresh forces against hostile raiders. These engagements had minimal coalition casualties, Walsh pointed out. Why? Because human soldiers provided long-range fire support. We eliminated threats before they could close to dangerous ranges. We protected our allies. Warchief Thonrak studied the footage carefully. In one scene, a Valorix squad advanced across open ground. Human soldiers positioned behind them picked off enemy targets methodically. The Valorix reached their objective without losing a single warrior. You protected my people, Thonrak said slowly. Yes, Walsh confirmed. That's what allies do. And we're very good at it, precisely because of the abilities that concern you. Shepard Vin leaned forward. Commander Walsh, help us understand. Your species could dominate this coalition militarily. The numbers support this conclusion. Why don't you? Walsh was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled slightly. Because we don't want to. Humans spent 10,000 years dominating each other on Earth. We learned that domination creates resistance, resentment, and endless conflict. Cooperation creates prosperity. Pretty words, Tech Lord Kane said. But trust requires more than words. Then let me offer something concrete, Walsh said. The coalition is expanding into dangerous frontier zones. Pirate attacks have increased 40% this year. Your ships and stations need better protection. He brought up a proposal document. Earth government is willing to deploy additional security forces to coalition facilities. Not as conquerors. As protectors. We'll take the dangerous assignments. The high-risk patrols. The frontier stations where raiders attack regularly. Admiral Kretal's eyes scanned the document. You're offering to put your people in harm's way to protect ours? Yes, Walsh said simply. Because that's what allies do. And because humans are naturally good at it. Ven's implants flickered as he processed the proposal. This would place human forces at every major coalition facility. Some might see that as infiltration. Or protection, Susan Hayes suggested. Admiral, you've seen what human civilians can do. Imagine what trained soldiers could accomplish defending your stations. Your shipping lanes. Your colonies. Shepard Vin spoke thoughtfully. The humans could have hidden their abilities. They could have kept this evolutionary advantage secret. Instead, Commander Walsh demonstrated it openly, then offered it for our benefit. This suggests genuine alliance. Or clever manipulation, Tech Lord Kane countered. Show us their strength, make us dependent, then make demands later. Walsh met Kane's gaze directly. Admiral, I can't prove our intentions with words. I can only offer actions. Let us protect one frontier station. One high-risk zone. Judge our performance. If we abuse the trust, remove us. Thonrak stood, his massive form dominating the chamber. I will speak plainly. Yes, humans frighten me now. Every human child is more dangerous than my warriors. This is disturbing truth. He paused, then continued. But they have fought beside my people. Bled with us. Died protecting Valoric soldiers. I trust actions more than calculations. I support the human proposal. Other council members began nodding. Slowly, carefully, but the sentiment spread. Admiral Kretal clicked his mandibles in a pattern that indicated decision-making. Very well. We will approve deployment of human security forces to frontier zones. But understand, Commander Walsh, we will watch carefully. I wouldn't expect anything less, Walsh replied. One question remains, Shepard Vin said. What do we tell our people? The truth will spread. There will be fear. Walsh considered this. Tell them the truth. Humans evolved as hunters. We're naturally good at ranged combat. But also tell them we choose to hunt threats to the coalition, not coalition members. We're dangerous, yes. But we're dangerous to your enemies. Kretal looked around the chamber, seeing agreement in most faces. Fear remained, but it was being channeled toward practical cooperation rather than conflict. It is decided then, the Admiral announced. Humans will serve as primary security forces in high-risk zones. May this alliance prove worthy of the trust we place in it. 3 weeks later, Admiral Kretal requested one final demonstration. He wanted to see human limitations. Surely there were conditions where humans would fail, where their natural advantages disappeared. The test would take place in the station's zero-gravity combat simulator. A massive chamber designed for training soldiers in space combat. No ground. No stable positions. Just floating in darkness with moving targets at various distances. No species shoots accurately in zero gravity without extensive training, Tech Lord Kane explained to Commander Walsh. The absence of ground reference disrupts aim. Body rotation creates instability. Even our best soldiers require computer assistance. Walsh nodded. Understood. Who would you like me to bring? Your choice, Kretal said. But I request actual military personnel this time. Not civilians. Fair enough, Walsh agreed. The next day they gathered at the simulator. The alien observers included representatives from 6 species. Their champions had spent days preparing, training in zero gravity, calibrating equipment. Walsh brought 3 human soldiers. Sergeant Brian Foster, a man in his early 30s with calm eyes. Corporal Ann Mitchell, a young woman who looked barely out of training. and Private Kyle Chin, who appeared nervous about the whole situation. These are standard infantry, Walsh explained. Sergeant Foster has 6 years of service. Corporal Mitchell has 2 years. Private Chin finished basic training 4 months ago. Techlord Kane's implants glowed. The private has only 4 months' experience? Yes. This should be instructive, Kane said. The simulator activated. Darkness enveloped the chamber except for glowing target markers. They floated at distances from 100 to 3,000 meters. Some moved erratically. Others followed complex patterns. Zero gravity made everything harder. The alien champions entered first. A Zenthari specialist named Buzz-22 had trained for 6 cycles in zero-gravity combat. He pushed off from the entrance platform, oriented himself carefully and fired at the nearest target. His shot missed by 20 centimeters. The recoil from his weapon sent him spinning. He needed 30 seconds to stabilize. His second shot hit the target zone but far from center. A Kresh soldier named Tech Warrior Lin had special implants designed for zero gravity. She calculated trajectories perfectly, but her body movements created unpredictable variables. She hit 3 out of 7 targets. Warchief Thonrak's champion, a young Valerix named Krell, simply couldn't adapt. His species relied on strength and stable firing positions. Floating helplessly, he managed only 1 successful hit. After an hour, the alien champions had average accuracy of 31%. Far below their normal performance. As expected, Krital said. Zero gravity eliminates most advantages. Even training helps only marginally. Sergeant Foster, you're up, Walsh called. Brian Foster entered the simulator. He pushed off gently from the platform, letting himself drift into the darkness. His body rotated slowly. He didn't fight it. Instead, he seemed to flow with the motion. He raised his rifle and fired while spinning. The shot hit within 5 centimeters of center. The observers leaned forward. Foster used his weapon's recoil deliberately. Each shot adjusted his rotation, his position. He fired 8 times in 2 minutes. 7 hits, all within 8 centimeters of center. Impossible, Techlord Kane muttered. He's using recoil for movement control. Humans learn to throw while running, jumping, falling, Dr. Susan Hayes reminded them. She had come to observe. We adapt to unstable positions instinctively. Corporal and Mitchell went next. She was smaller than Foster, lighter. Zero gravity should have affected her more. Instead, she seemed to dance through the darkness. Her body twisted and turned, but her aim remained steady. 9 out of 10 targets hit. She's compensating for rotation before it happens, Ven observed, his implants flickering rapidly. Her brain predicts her own movement and adjusts aim accordingly. Private Kyle Chin entered last. He looked terrified. This was his first time in the combat simulator. He pushed off too hard and tumbled uncontrollably. The observers expected failure. Kyle spun 3 times, completely disoriented. Then, somehow, he stabilized his mind if not his body. While still rotating, he fired. It fired again. His body spun wildly, but his shots found targets. 6 out of 10 hits. Better than any alien champion. When Kyle exited the simulator, he looked embarrassed. Sorry, sir. I lost control of my rotation. I know I can do better with more practice. Walsh patted his shoulder. You did fine, Private. Admiral Krital stared at the results displayed on the holographic screen. The private apologized for 60% accuracy in conditions where our champions achieved 31%. Humans have high standards, Walsh said simply. Warchief Thonrak stood abruptly. I must see something. Commander Walsh, do you have children on this station? Walsh looked surprised. Yes, several dozen families live in the civilian section. Why? I want to see human children, Thonrak said. Playing. Being normal children. An hour later, they stood outside the station's recreation area. Through transparent walls, they could see human children playing. Ages ranged from about 6 to 14. They ran, jumped, and most importantly, threw balls to each other. That's my daughter, Jenny, Lieutenant Foster pointed to a 10-year-old girl with brown hair. She's teaching some of the alien children to play catch. Indeed, several young aliens stood in the play area. A small Dolmai child, a young Zenthari, and 2 Kresh youngsters. Jenny patiently demonstrated how to throw and catch a softball. The human children made it look effortless. They threw across the room with casual accuracy. Behind the back. While running. While jumping. The ball always went where they intended. The alien children tried to copy them. The Dolmai child's throw wobbled and fell short. The Zenthari's throw went sideways. The creche children used both hands and still couldn't match the distance. Jenny encouraged them gently. It's okay. You'll get better with practice. Here, try again. She threw the ball softly to the Dolmai child. It landed perfectly in the small alien's hands. Shepherd Tall watched his species child struggle. She's being kind. But the difference is enormous. Jenny is average for her age, Lieutenant Foster said. Most human 10-year-olds throw at that level. Jenny's younger brother, maybe 7 years old, ran past. He scooped up a ball without breaking stride and threw it across the entire recreation area to another child. Perfect spiral. Perfect accuracy. He didn't even look proud. It was just normal. That child is 7, Cretal said slowly. 7 cycles old. He just threw with more accuracy than Buzz, 22, achieved in zero gravity. He plays baseball 3 times a week, Foster explained. Loves the game. A group of teenage humans began a game called basketball. They threw a ball at a target mounted high on the wall. The ball went through the target again and again. Different angles. Different distances. Running, jumping, spinning. The ball always found the target. They're not even aiming, Ven observed. There's no pause. No calculation. They simply throw and hit. It's automatic, Susan Hayes said softly. By their age, 16 or 17 years old, they've thrown objects hundreds of thousands of times. Their brains don't need to calculate anymore. Their bodies just know. War Chief Thonrak watched a 12-year-old human girl throw a ball the length of the recreation area into a small target. She laughed when she made it, then did it again. And again. As if it were the easiest thing in the world. They don't even realize, Thonrak said quietly. Look at them. They're playing. Having fun. They have no idea how terrifying this is to watch. Terrifying? Jenny had walked over, ball in hand. She had overheard. What's terrifying? The massive Valerix warrior looked down at the small human child. She smiled up at him innocently, casually tossing the ball from hand to hand without looking at it. Nothing, young one, Thonrak said gently. You play very well. Thanks. Do you want to try? Jenny offered him the ball. Thonrak took the ball carefully. It felt small in his massive hands. He tried to throw it to another child across the room. The ball flew wild, hitting the wall 3 meters off target. Jenny retrieved it. That's okay. It takes practice. Here, try holding it like this. She demonstrated, her small hands positioning the ball perfectly. Then she threw it across the room again. Bullseye. After the visitors left the recreation area, they gathered in a quiet observation room. No one spoke for several minutes. Finally, Admiral Cretal broke the silence. They truly don't understand what they are. No, Walsh agreed. To them, throwing is just normal. Everyone does it. It's like breathing. A species of natural marksman, Shepherd Tall said. Every single one. From childhood. And they think it's ordinary. It is ordinary, Susan Hayes said. For humans? That's the point. Techlord Kane's implants dimmed. I came here hoping to find human limitations. Conditions where your advantages disappear. I found the opposite. You adapt to conditions we cannot handle. Your children exceed our trained adults. And you consider this normal. It is normal, Walsh repeated. For us. Cretal's mandibles clicked in a pattern that meant acceptance. Very well, Commander Walsh. The Coalition accepts the truth. Humans are what you are. We will work with this reality, not against it. That's all we ask, Walsh said. But please, Shepherd Tall added with a slight smile. Perhaps don't teach our children human games. It's rather depressing for them. Walsh laughed. Jenny means well. She's just trying to be friendly. I know, Tall said. Which somehow makes it worse. Your children are kind, playful, and accidentally terrifying. It's a unique combination. Welcome to humanity, Walsh said. We've been accidentally terrifying each other for millennia. You get used to it. Admiral Cretal looked out at the stars beyond the station. Human ships patrolled the frontier now. Human soldiers protected Coalition facilities. Human children played in recreation areas throughout the fleet. A species of natural hunters living among them. Not as conquerors. As friends. It was, Cretal thought, probably the best outcome they could have hoped for.